What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It is your boys, the way better NPCs. We do it better than you, and you already know what it is. We're here to talk to you about games and stuff. You know what I mean? Things that you love because you found the video, right? You clicked it. You wouldn't click it if you didn't love games, right? Come on now. Look at that. Look at
Sure.
me knows how to click. We don't even play on PC. That's crazy. Anyways,
Excuse me?
the cool guys don't play on PC.
You're on an
Anyway,
Xbox One. What do you mean?
yeah, with the
Hey,
fucking controller.
it's way
Anyways,
better than PC.
yeah, let's
I have
fucking
a
get
better
it.
controller than
Let's get
you.
it. You don't even use that shit. You play Siege all the time. Get out
No,
of
I
here.
use this on GTA. Eat my ass.
Let's
Anyways, go.
get it. Anyways, we got really distracted early, and that means we might have a great
The
video for you
energy, the
today.
vibe.
Today we're going to be talking about console biases, stereotypes. You know what I mean? We all have these different platforms. People feel different ways about each one. You know what I mean? And we're going to talk about our personal feelings, the general feelings of the gaming community as a whole. Just talk about it. You know what I mean? Because I see some things, I experience some things. You already know the vibes. But right now, we're gonna start with the
Oh my
games
God,
that
the
we've been
picture's so
playing
good.
because we obviously do this. You know what I mean? We'd be frauds if we didn't play games, right?
Frauds.
So, speaking for myself personally, I recently started Destiny 2 on Xbox. It's on Game Pass, and I've heard good things about it a long time. I've just been mad lazy. I'm just like, you know what the thing about Game Pass that's good and bad? It's like I've just randomly downloaded so much shit, like just by scrolling through, like, oh yeah, I heard that's good. I heard that's good.
Dude, I saw your screenshot of
I
your
have
games, and you
this
have like 30
whole
games.
thing, and I just don't know what to play. I'm like, it's like intimidates me. I'm like, I'll like look at it. I'm like, oh, I should just play something, and then I'll see that whole fucking page full of games, and I'll be like, you know what? I'll just watch something. It's fine. So I finally pulled the trigger on Destiny 2. I've been having a good time with that.
Are you playing with anybody?
Nah, I've just been playing solo, just trying to get through the campaign. I don't know how to Destiny for real. I
Wait,
haven't
wait.
like
Yeah, it's fair.
Did you say that you have too many games on there, so then you watch something and then
Here
you
we
probably go to
go.
no wait. Then you go to Netflix and you're like, what the fuck do I watch?
No,
And then he watches One Piece.
I have
For the
I mean,
top
yeah,
I
time.
was in the
I've-
same boat. I was in the same boat just like a week ago. So I'll get to that when I talk about my games. But I know the feeling.
yeah. So I've been playing Destiny. I know that's like something you was like, run strikes and raids with people, stuff like that. I just been doing the main campaign or whatever right now just to like kill time. But it's real fun. It's more fun than
It's a good
I
game. I
realized.
played
Yeah,
some
it's
of it a couple months ago over the
super
summer. It's
solid.
pretty good.
I can
Yeah,
only
it's
imagine it'd be more fun with people. But
I
yeah.
really like the campaign until you get to the point where you need friends to play with, and then
Yep. It's like,
not
what
enough
friends?
so,
Friends,
yeah.
what?
Pain.
Pain.
But
So,
that's
Greg's like, I need friends, so I guess I'll talk to Santino since I haven't talked to him since like we're 12.
Sixth grade. Hey, you want to play COD? Fuck. That's all I have, Greg. Go ahead, Greg. You can go ahead next.
All right. So since our last call, I played a little bit. I was same situation, trying to figure out what to play. Downloaded all the PS Plus games. Played maybe an hour or so of that Maneater game where you play as a shark.
Dude, I wanted to play that so bad when I saw that on IGN years ago.
It's
It's GTA
I don't
with
know.
sharks.
Like it's
What?
kind of
Yes,
fun. You
it
just play as a
is.
shark and you like eat
Yeah,
people
you
on the
eat
beach
people.
Yeah.
and fish, and then you get bigger and then you eat bigger things. It's really like kind of addicting, but not great. So like it was a game like I played a lot like one night and then I never went really back to it. But it was
Yo, we need games bad. We got Greg down here down
Yeah.
bad.
so then
I played Jaws.
I dove into the PS Plus collection. So on the PS5, you get all these free PS Plus games to download, and I jumped into Resident Evil 7 because Resident Evil 8 was coming out. All those
I didn't play
trailers.
7.
That was fun, except I just can't play it that much at night. Like I keep telling myself,
You
I'm
get
gonna play
scared?
it at night.
Fam.
Dude, it's so creepy. Like I've played
Yo,
a
I
lot
used to
of
cut the
horror
lights off in
games.
my parents' basement when Greg would come over and he'd get so scared. I would too, though, but I'd be up the stairs first.
Like the horror games I could get. Some of them I can get into.
I can't do
but
horror
you
games
just,
alone,
like,
bro.
This one, it just like so creepy being in a house, people walking down the hallways, like you see them and you're hiding. And I just get so tense. Like I'm
If
not
COVID
scared.
is
it's
done, when the
tense.
next one comes out,
Ugh.
we're playing it in your basement.
The next COVID comes out?
No,
Just
when the
kidding.
next
Resident
Rainbow Six quarantine in our next quarantine.
Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Oh, shit.
And then so then I played a little bit of 7. I just couldn't keep getting back to it. Like it was tough for me to. I don't know. I just wanted something different. So then the God of War patch came out,
Yeah.
and
Have you
that's
beat it
really
already
been
6
what I've-
times?
No, I'm getting the platinum though, so I'll
So,
get that.
yeah.
But that game is awesome still. Jeez, and it's 60 frames. If you haven't touched it in a while, or if you haven't
Dude,
played
it
it
looked
at all
beautiful
yet,
on the
oh,
Pro. I'd love to see it
Yeah.
again.
No, on the 5 at 4K 60, it's looking great.
You'd
So
love to hear it.
that's been
Amit,
my
what about you?
All right, let me grab it. Hold on. Here we go. I got.
yes. We know what he's playing, and it's the best.
There it is from Santino.
Oh,
Let me borrow
I saw
it.
you playing Destiny the other day.
I was gonna talk about it. This is
I
next, though.
re-downloaded. Hell yes!
Oh.
Play that right now. Shit, we'll watch.
Stream it.
Yeah, stream
Yeah,
it.
right. No, so Last of Us 2. I am through the part where we're in Seattle day one. I just got into like the museum or whatever after running through like the tunnels in the beginning.
Museum.
Or like art museum or something there.
I think I remember.
It's early. I'm only like 6 hours into the game.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So it's early. Spoilers if no one's played it. But like you just find out that Dina's pregnant. That part.
Oh, okay. And they're in the basement and
Oh,
they're doing their little
you're in a
thing.
theater,
Yeah, okay. I
right?
In the
remember that.
theater.
Theater.
Sorry, theater.
It's a theater, yeah.
It's a theater.
Okay, that's
Okay,
like the base. Their base, they said.
Yeah.
Is it where
Okay,
they like
yeah.
smoke weed together and
That was
No,
before.
That was before.
That
okay,
was
so you're
before they
past
go to
that. I'm
Seattle.
thinking of
Yeah.
that.
So
I was thinking of all the scenes. I'm like, what fucking museum?
I was like, what
is
museum?
Yeah,
The
I'm
only
thinking-
museum I remember is the Space Museum and the dinosaurs and all that.
Yeah, and that's
Everything's
not what-
Yeah,
run-
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking about.
everything's run down. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
a
what
theater,
is?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a theater. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in that part. So no, but Final Fantasy is only $30 from Walmart. So I was like, all right, let's get that. And then I started Destiny 2 as well. I got 2 guys I'm playing with. So I have never played it. I played Destiny 1 for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, I
Same
don't like
with
this.
my cousins. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it
saying I
was
was
bad.
way too late.
Yeah. And like there was like too much spells and stuff going on. I was like, forget this. I'm not good at it. I'm way too underleveled.
It's actually really good though if you play. Like
Yeah.
I played it over the summer for the first time. And I loved it.
Yeah, so So I'm Destiny 2. I'm playing Beyond Light. Played maybe 3 or 4 campaign things yesterday. So every Wednesday I'll do that. But I just also beat Gears 5 Hive Busters.
How
Which
was
was
it?
like-
Nice.
It was only
nice.
6 hours. I played with the same 2 guys because there's just a group of 3, and it was good. It looks amazing.
You played it
Uh,
on the
4K
Series X?
120.
Yeah, yep. Played on Series X. It looks really good. So I would recommend it because you can run through it really quick, really quick. So
Check it out.
yeah,
I'm still playing Siege, and I'm playing. What have I played? We went back to Battlefront 2 for a little bit, and it's just fun to aimlessly shoot. Like it's like a COD. And the heroes versus villains thing is still really fun, except when you play against guys who've been playing the game since day one and they have every card equipped, and it's like I'm literally just walking and dying.
wait, Santino, is your Siege cast? Is it on this channel or is it on a different channel?
I have everything on this channel. This channel,
Perfect.
I'm not committed to making a second channel.
Nope, don't.
I just feel like throwing it on here. But anyways, yeah, I'm playing Siege. I'm playing Minecraft, and that's how like bored I am, if I'm being honest. But like we have a group of like 3 guys that are almost 30, including myself, who have never played Minecraft in their life, and they're in love with it. And like 4 other guys in their mid-20s playing Minecraft. And like we've just been getting lost in Minecraft. And like I bought the Star Wars edition, and you get like every planet, and most of us like Star Wars here. I think Rob, you like Star Wars, right? For the most part. And it's just like it's been so much fun to just build shit. And there you go. Amit is the Star Wars man. There you go. If I could show you my Funko Pops, I would. But yeah, Minecraft has been like the one that stands out. And I don't think there's nothing really coming out right now. I miss playing sports games. Like me and Greg played a lot of PGA over the summer. But I don't have a PlayStation anymore to play that, and I don't want to buy it on my PC. I would love to play 2K, but I'm not committed to buying it on a PC. If I buy 2K, Rob, I'll be mad in a day. So like I'll be tweeting 2K devs like you guys are dog shit, but I miss that so much. So I need a sports outlet to be mad at something, and 2K is the one that catches that stray. But yeah, that's been my game list. That's been our game list. Rob, in regards to this topic, where did you want to start?
I mean, we can go with I mean, anyone. I mean, I guess I don't know which one.
I'll start. Yeah, I'll take one.
Go for
Oh,
it.
go ahead. Go ahead.
This actually, Cindy and I were just talking about it. My wife Cindy and I were just talking about it. So she works for a library, not a museum or a theater. She works for a library, and they were having. She asked me this question a couple days ago. She was like, "Hey, give me a game because they're having problems when people searching for like which console the game that they're looking for curbside pickup is going to come up, you know." And she's like, "So we're just." I was like, just name the random game like Call of Duty or something, whatever it was." And so she brought this up, how the search feature for the games were not that great. And she's like, as myself, she says, she's like, I'm a gamer and I would have trouble using this system. And then later someone was like, "Oh, I didn't know you're a gamer. Like, what do you play?" And Cindy's like, "Oh, I've played almost every Zelda. I love all the Mario games." And the person's like, "Oh, just Nintendo? You're not a gamer." So that's one of it, right? It's like, just because she chooses Nintendo as her platform of choice, right? Because she loves Zelda, she loves Mario, but the Nintendo slander there is, just because you play Nintendo doesn't mean you're a gamer. That's so wrong.
Isn't Nintendo like the father of video games essentially?
Right?
Yeah.
For the most
they
part.
go back. And before we get too deep into this, because I love where this is going to meet. The library's got video games.
The library's always had video games, Greg.
Yeah, what?
What
was the last time you've been in a library? Okay, well, I shouldn't even be saying that because I don't go in there.
What do you mean?
Do you not remember Arthur? Having fun isn't hard if you have a library card.
Oh God.
This is I wouldn't have got the digital edition of the PS5.
It's
nuts.
Dude, the library's had like video games forever, bro.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Since we were kids.
He has 2 games at the library.
Really? Swear to God, PS2 games.
I just went to Blockbuster. I didn't know.
Family Home Video down the street from
I
Greg's
did not
mom's
know
house.
this. Oh my God. All right, sorry, but yeah, go on to me.
Was that your example of me?
Yeah, that was my example. It's just because you don't play, and and Cindy said it's like, just because I don't play like a first-person shooter doesn't mean that like I'm any less gamer than you.
Yeah, gaming is turned into it has to be a competitive game.
I was gonna say, I feel like ever since the Wii generation, I think Nintendo's had that reputation where, because they stopped getting like the third-party support, and that's when everyone started getting like the more mature games with the 360 and the PS3. I feel like ever since that generation, Nintendo's been known as like the kids system,
kids console.
Like, oh yeah, the kids game are on Nintendos, and it's just like, there's some heat on Nintendo.
There's really good story games on there.
I think a lot of it is just like the gatekeeping we see throughout the games industry. Like, you have to be like the most exclusive. Like, I play only the hardcore. Like, it's the guys, my friends, who will only play sports games. They might not consider themselves a gamer. Some might, right? Like, I only play Madden, or I only play COD. There's a lot of people who are gamers. They own a system and that's what they do. They're still gamers, but like, we've seen this this evolution of this gatekeeping. It's, Nintendo. Oh, you only play Nintendo. That's not cool enough. To the, oh, you don't play real games. You need to play Souls games. Only Souls games are, real gamer games. Like, it's shit like that. Like, it's just, we like to gatekeep, which is a problem with gaming. I think there's a lot of people out there who are doing it right and just like, hey, play
whatever you like to play it and enjoy it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You spent your hard-earned money to play on your console or your PC, bro. Don't let anybody tell you what the fuck you want to play.
Yeah, enjoy what you enjoy.
Exactly.
Video games are cool. That's just like, let's leave it at that, right?
We are grown-ass men, and we still play video games. We'll probably be doing this till we're 60 plus. So,
and Nintendo's like got a sweet aesthetic. Like, it's very, they're more cartoon focused, but it doesn't make them bad games. A lot of them have some of the best gameplay around. Exactly. And you know what? A lot of people, if you like a lot of Nintendo games, you might not want to be playing The Last of Us and just brutal and gory and like shit that's just intense the whole day. Like, sometimes you want to be bopping around as Mario or Kirby. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that when they're great games.
If you want to go play Animal Crossing like me sometimes, like stuff like that, go chill.
But
save lives,
just look
Tetris 99.
Just look at Switch though. The first year of Switch, they had 2 Game of the Year contenders, right? They have Mario and Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. This year, they had Hades. It's not on PS. It's not on PlayStation or Xbox. They have Hades, and that's a Game of the Year contender.
It's a Game of the Year,
you know.
And
Like,
Animal Crossing, like
in Animal Crossing, like
I mean, you can't get away. There's a ton of great games.
It's
Smash
just
Bros.
that
Like
we've
it's
gotten so far in regards to the terms of gaming and the evolution of gaming that true gaming is a Call of Duty hardcore mode, is a Gears of War multiplayer mode, is Halo tournaments on Saturdays mode. You know what I mean? Like, apparently the only right way of gaming is competitive, whether that be a sports game or a shooter. But if you like story games, you're not a gamer.
right.
like I think like it's just a flip of when gaming was like the nerdier thing, like right when it had a more negative
It
connotation.
wasn't cool.
Where it was like, hey, once you grow up, don't be a
You're not
can't
gonna
be
play
a
video
gamer.
games
Like,
anymore.
those are for
Yeah.
kids. Like they're just different now. Like you don't people who watch movies, like if like my mom likes comedies, but she doesn't go watch all the Oscar play like award nominated pictures. No one's gonna go up and say, hey, you're not a movie watcher. Like
Oh no, I would.
you watch
That would
movies.
be me. I would say that too.
Well, you might not be a
gatekeeper.
cinephile. You might not be a cinephile, but like
right. Yeah.
you still watch movies, and that's what a gamer.
Yeah.
You play games,
Right.
like
You
Yeah.
play games, regardless of what it is. What else? What else? You got some,
all right,
Greg?
I got one to kind of go off of this. I think it's something that we see in the industry. It's maybe more into Sony now as well, but going off Nintendo, is there a Nintendo bump? Is there a
I was gonna talk about
this idea that
the
if it
sliding
comes
scale.
from Nintendo, it's gonna get a point or two plus from what another game would if it was just as good in the rating scale. And I think we're starting to see this with some Sony games now too. Like, oh, it's a Sony first party. All of a sudden, we add a point or two to the review scale just because. You guys think that's a real thing, or it's in just people's heads?
I think
Yeah,
that
go ahead, Rob.
I think there's some validity to it. At least in terms of just the energy certain games get, like especially with Nintendo. Like I think like especially like people just want Nintendo to win. I think people just accept whatever like they get from them, except for like the Wii U. But like
Goat system. Bought 2 of them.
but like I didn't play Breath of the Wild. I think I watched Santino
You
play a
watched
lot of
me
it.
play like the first half of it.
But I remember a big debate that year during Game of the Year time was Breath of the Wild versus Horizon Zero Dawn, right? And
I'm the one that made that running joke for a while.
um Breath of the Wild kind of swept most like Game of the Year awards that year.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, like I listened to a handful of different podcasts at the time, and I remember a lot of people were like, Horizon's a fuller game. Like it's a better game. Like objectively, there's more things to do. Like Breath of the Wild's ambitious for a Zelda title, but like comparatively, this and this, this. And people were like really debating that.
I remember
And
that.
so I think like there is a degree of like, oh, this is a Nintendo game. And I don't think it's every franchise gets that, but like I think Zelda's do. I think mainline Mario's do.
Yeah.
Like
I was going to
There's my
answer this,
example. Like,
Rob.
I don't think Odyssey was a 10 out of 10. I think it's a great game. But I think like Galaxy, like I think they've had a lot better ones, 3D Marios that have come out recently. But like, I don't know, like I just think there are some games that do get that bump. Like even Animal Crossing, like Animal Crossing gets this like rave review of being like so.
That's
great.
a cult. That is
But,
a cult
like,
game.
It's just the right game for the right time. I
Exactly.
don't think it's necessarily this like the greatest. It's just Animal Crossing. It's the same it has been really.
But I think the person who's reviewing that, because even before that, New Leaf really high ratings, and my wife
The
played
GameCube one got really high. Like
Yeah.
that's where people swore to that game.
She played the one on DS or 3DS or whatever. She's played all of them, you know.
Right.
But she's like, this game is amazing, and like the stuff they add. I mean, I don't get it. It's not my thing. But like when I see people playing, or like if I just take the controller, I'm like, all right, this is like
I get it.
you know. And like I think going from I think there's a Nintendo bump. I do agree, but I actually think Animal Crossing is really good.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think it's bad.
No.
And like, I think that's like with most of them. I don't think they're bad games. I think a lot of the reason for the bump is Nintendo, like kind of like Rob was saying, just gets looked at in its own ecosystem, and kind of what you were saying with the criticisms that get, for people
Right.
only, like people just view Nintendo in its own little system, and it gets away with a lot because of that. It can be a little less innovative, but then makes all these like crazy, like in their games. I don't know, like they don't have to be innovative on design not like gameplay design, but graphics, keeping things looking really good. They've stayed a generation or two at this point back.
It's because they're not expected
and
to
just
do
have
that.
been innovating on gameplay. So it's a cool different path they took.
And I feel like with Nintendo and you saying you kind of see it with PlayStation. And Rob was saying this, the Marios, the Zeldas, what else? There's probably like 2 more games. We'll always get like a 10. Whether it's a 10 or not is not like for us to debate, obviously. But I think the fandom or the guy reviewing it or girl reviewing it will like they have that bias towards the Marios, the Zeldas, unless it's like a Hyrule. What was it? The side
Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, if it's not like a true next Mario story game, mainline, a true next Zelda game, those are always getting 10s. I feel like no matter what, because they don't come out as frequent as other games.
Or going to bias, like you said, they might have a history
super bias.
with it.
Exactly.
They might have a history. They might have been playing from NES till now, so they're just like, oh, I'm gonna,
like, with
it's amazing.
And I'm gonna use Sony as maybe the upcoming bump that they get because everybody, including ourselves, we speak highly about their exclusives. But the thing with Sony is there's always like that 1 or 2 exceptions where it's like, this isn't that 9 out of 10. This isn't that 10 out of 10. This might not even be a 7 out of 10, but they were ambitious enough to try it. So
to like add to that point, to like kind of co-sign the bump though, I do think Sony games have gotten to the point where they're talked about like that though. Like I think people want to give them the bump or the pass if it doesn't hit. Like when I was listening to this podcast literally like a couple weeks ago, they were talking about Days Gone, right? And they're
that
like
was literally the example I was about to give.
Days Gone, and they're like, man, if that was an Xbox game, everyone would call it trash. Like, and I'm like,
I personally think that game was dog shit.
When it came out, though, I just remember a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's all right," or they were like trying to find excuses for it.
No,
Like,
it was bad.
well, I like this loop, or I like this part of it. Like, it wasn't praised like Sony games typically do, but I didn't see it get shit on like other.
And that was the example I was going to give.
You know what I mean?
It's still an exclusive, but it's not getting killed by everybody.
Like, well, they can't hit every time, so this is fine. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like they get like a lot of leeway.
Do you think part of it is like with Nintendo, they know, like you said, these mainline games are going to get their high scores. With Sony, they've just been throwing heat, so like people expect them to keep up on that roll. Do some reviewers just not want to be the outlier? It's like, well, I don't want to give Odyssey a 7 when I know it's going to get 10s everywhere and then get all of,
I think these reviewers are too scared to be the ones that tell it really how it is and say it's not a 10. I think a lot of the reviewers are like that now.
Cyberpunk, which is not a bump, but again, like some of those reviews got caught up in the hype and did not.
The one that I saw that was a 7 for Cyberpunk the first week was the only one that I truly can agree with. Out of all those reviews I read from week 1.
And to bring it to Greg's point, like that shit got slandered for like a week
because they were killing them for doing.
They were like killing her.
That's what I said. People, they're too scared because they make their money off like people clicking their articles, this and that, and it's like they're too scared to be that one that tells it how it is, or maybe it isn't how it is. Or maybe like they're scared to tell it how they truly feel because they've seen everybody say this is an 8, this is a 9, maybe this is a 10. And they're like, okay, what's really a 6 to me? I guess I can see where this other reviewer is coming from and I'm going to give it an 8. So I think the ratings, like the people that do these things, there's a lot of like skewed and like blurred lines with how these ratings are done.
Well, on top of that, I think it's also like to give the each platform their credit. I think it comes part of like expectations as well. You know what I mean? Like when you like usually hit, like you go into it expecting that. So you kind of like approach it with like a more positive mindset, I think. Where like, definitely. You know what I mean? Like we were like I remember Last of Us, like I remember I was excited for it. So I was like, oh, people are mad, but this is fine. And then I was watching like someone play it and I was like, oh, this is fine. Like this is cool. And I'm like liking it and stuff. But then like it's like one of those things where like being removed from it, I can be more critical. But that first like week or so, like sitting with it, I was like, why are people mad? Like it did this and it did this and it did this, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, yeah, the pacing was a little rough during that part. And this was kind of rough during this part. I don't know how I feel about this. Like I feel like a lot of times, especially with like Sony and Nintendo, like they're known for like knocking it out of the park. So it's like, okay, here's another banger I'm about to play. Yeah, you know what I mean? And being in that headspace, you're gonna latch on to the positives more than the negatives. And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
that probably also
No,
assists them.
Rob, that
No, no, no.
reminds me a ton
Yeah.
of what I read a meet on Twitter. You said so it was with movies, but it was
I
when
was just
people
about to bring that up.
really. I'll let you
Yes.
do it then, because
Yeah.
I'm stealing this from your Twitter.
So there's a
I'm doing this from your Twitter.
Teamwork.
yes. Thanks for following me. There's a consumer bump when you pay for something. You want to back that up. That makes sure that your purchase was worth it.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh, facts.
So when people spend $10 on a movie, they're like, yeah, I like that movie. And then it's like, okay, but was it really good? Like if you watched it for free on Netflix,
Would you like it?
would you have liked it?
Yeah.
Would it have been that 2.5 hours?
I'm
that you
very
paid?
much like
Yo,
that.
You know what I mean?
I've definitely
And Wonder
had that when
Woman
I've
was where
left
this
the
came
movie
up, I
theater,
think.
and I was like, "Oh man, that was great." And I sat there and I was like, "Man, that kind of was like ass." But like, yeah, no. So I feel that definitely.
And
And
that
I
could be
think with games, a lot of time, even though we pay for them and we want to like them, but like sometimes it's just our expectations, right? Like we go in and we like buy in and we get invested in the hype, and then we pay a different way. We pay with our time and our energy and our focus, and then
Yeah.
we want to make it worth it, just
Regardless
to
of-
validate that it
yeah.
wasn't just a waste
a
of
waste of however many hours you just put in. Yeah.
Yep. So that's a couple different biases, I guess, around ratings and Nintendo bumps and a
Yep.
few different takes.
I got
for
one
it,
more
Rob.
for Nintendo.
Okay. Nintendo,
Nintendo-
you're getting,
This is a
Nintendo, you're not getting off
podcast.
tonight, huh? Yeah, you're getting slandered
Nintendo.
tonight.
Well, the second one wasn't necessarily slang. I was like, oh,
No.
they rate high, you know.
Yeah.
But this one is. Stop fucking selling us the same shit.
Oh
I
yeah.
I'm
think
dying to tell you guys
Nintendo-
this.
Nintendo fans will just keep buying the same thing over and over again,
Yep.
and it's cool because it's all great, but it's also not cool because we need to expect better. We need to expect better from these people. We need to demand better. But Nintendo, you know how many fucking times I can buy Mario 64? You know how many fucking times I can buy the same version of Mario fucking 64?
With no
Well, only
improvement.
for another month and a half, right?
Nothing.
And then they're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
lock you out.
With
I didn't
no
understand that
improvements.
shit, dude.
The last time they did it in September, they just gave me a soundtrack. That's not an improvement. I can go on fucking Spotify for a soundtrack.
These dudes were
Like-
really like, maybe I should buy this triple pack because I can resell it later. I had so many people tell me that. I was like, dude, you're a fucking loser. Like, you're gonna make
That's-
a buck more off this game. Like, get out of here with that, man.
I mean, years from now they might be able to, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Yo,
they get
some
away
games-
with it because
Yeah.
half their stuff was released on the
Wii
Wii
U.
U.
The Wii U.
And Santino
that's
bought
the-
50% of those consoles that sold, and like everyone's just like, oh, we can sell them again because
Every
no
video
one
I've
played
done the
them.
last 3 days is me getting slandered.
Yeah. No, I think
do
for
I
the
have
Wii-
friends?
I think besides the Wii U stuff, I agree for the most part.
100%.
But the Wii U stuff, no one played it, right?
Yeah,
Besides
the Wii U
Santino
stuff I
Yeah.
give a pass to.
Nobody played
honestly.
it.
That's the only stuff I give a pass to. The
Right.
Wii U
Me.
stuff.
Right.
But like, I know Wind Waker came out again on Wii U, just like prettier.
Bro, low key though,
Bad, different.
give me Wind Waker again. I'll
Oh,
buy it.
I think I got Wind Waker for free as a
Wind Waker-
download because you bought it. Because
Yeah.
you bought the Wii U. They're like,
bought
here's
the
Wind
Wii
Waker
U.
for free.
They did that with
Yeah.
a couple games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time's been re-released a couple times. You know what I mean? Like, at least with the Pokemon re-releases, they like make them prettier and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Nintendo, I feel like, has like the longest lineage of all these platforms, but I feel like they don't really act. There it is. I feel like they don't really act like it. Like they don't really do anything for their people like that. Like in a way that you would feel like they really care. They just kind of like, oh yeah, you like this? Here, take it again. You know what I
Or
mean?
there's,
Like,
like-
no discounts ever. The game's never
No,
dropped.
that's the
barely
other thing.
ever. Yeah,
No.
you know, like
That's the only game you can resell to GameStop and get like $45 out of the 60 you spent is a Mario game or a Zelda game.
yeah.
And
they
I
don't-
worked
they don't
there
on
and
sale for
somebody
anything.
would trade it in. I'd be like, whoa, you're getting a lot for this. And my boss would be like, you can't say that.
They're also notorious for intentionally constricting the supply of their systems
Yeah.
to make it harder to get them. I mean, they are one of the least consumer friendly ones out
Oh, yeah.
there, and
Absolutely.
they get away with
They
being
get-
like
just because they're like,
like
the darlings.
The
They have the-
darling.
Yeah, they are the
Apparently not
the
from us,
father
though.
of gaming. Yeah, no. We're not getting
I
suckered into
just
that.
want better.
Well,
I
that's
I still love the stuff. Like this Mario collection, I was excited about when I heard rumors. Then when
I
I,
was about
saw
to
it was
buy
just the
Rob this for
same
his
games,
birthday.
I'm so sorry.
I like we
But-
start with don't hate on people who only play Nintendo. They're all gamers.
Now
but
we
fuck
hate Nintendo.
Fucking fake gamers keep buying the same shit. That's why it keeps happening. But like, yeah, Nintendo sells the same stuff or doesn't really put enough effort. Not consumer friendly, I feel like is
I have
a good way to sum it up.
a criticism that Rob has been somewhat critical, and he does not participate in this, and he hasn't since I've known him, since it's been a thing in gaming. What do you guys feel about pre-ordering? Is pre-ordering outside of like collector's editions, like giving your $5 to GameStop, or if it's something else, it's like free? Is pre-ordering not the wave in gaming? And is it like, well, again, I'm going to use Cyberpunk as an example. Like, is that just a way to boost their numbers, but then the game comes out and it's a flop? Anthem as well. Like, should pre-ordering be a thing? Is it even worth pre-ordering? Are those 5 cosmetics that don't do anything for you within an hour of a game worth it?
I'll go first. I talked about this guy with you guys earlier. I'm a physical game buyer, and so I'll pre-order it most of the time if it's from Best Buy and you get like a $10 reward thing for it, right? Because that's just more money I can put towards something else, you know. But I mean, like Amazon right now, it's like, oh, if you pre-order it, you get $10 off the game, you know. So there's incentive there to get the money off. In terms of like the incentive stuff that they give you, like that really doesn't matter to me.
It's garbage. It's always garbage.
Right. But with like box store like Best Buy, if you pre-order it and it has bad reviews, or if you don't want to get it, just let it go, and you don't actually buy it then, right? Like I just don't pick it up if I don't want it then. So there's no harm, no foul for like these box stores like Best Buy for me to pre-order something. It just means that, hey, I should be able to get it on the day if I want to, you know, just pick it up, and I can maybe get some type of incentive in terms of cash, right? But like in terms of like the incentives that you get with it, really, for me, it's
not worth it.
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few reasons why I'm okay with doing it ever. Is one, if it's a game that I'm gonna buy regardless, like I want to play it right away. The Last of Us 2, games that I have faith in the developers. You know, even like a game like Cyberpunk is the same way. Like if I want to play that night one, like if I want to be there down, and I'm not physical, I do everything digitally. So like if I want to play a game like the second it releases, well, like I don't mind pre-ordering it. I can download it beforehand. Obviously in that situation, I wasn't going to wait for reviews. But there's times you get burned that way. There's times you get a game that isn't great. And the other time is like maybe you get something like exclusive missions like a month early, something like that, where a lot of times like I'm not playing a game again after that first month. So I'll take the risk and get a little bit more game early. Other than that, though, it's a ripoff. I don't know. People should never pre-order a game and then bitch about it being bad. Like you have it in your control to wait. Like you can wait. You can read reviews. You can figure it out. But we're all you know, feed the piggies. We got to get it first. We got to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm the same way. So like I just don't bitch about it afterwards. Like I burned plenty of money buying video games. They're horrible. It's just like I don't think it should be something you're not like they should do away with. I just think people who pre-order need to like,
you know what you're getting.
Look in the mirror if you're getting burned. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day when like games actually sold out, I was all for pre-ordering. I used to be like that guy. Like I'd be like, "Mom, you gotta take me to the store because there won't be any copies of Halo 2." Like, you know what I mean? Like I was like me. So I definitely like back in the day, like, you know, like restore the feeling. When that was like a thing, like for sure. But like nowadays, for deals and stuff, I can get behind that. You know, like who doesn't want $10 off?
Oh
But,
yeah, for sure.
For most of like, and then again, I know Santino has a lot of figures and stuff. Like if you're into collector's edition,
Yeah, like
you have
mine's
to
always
pre-order to get
collector's
it.
editions.
I know sometimes they do pre-orders get you into multiplayer betas. I
Mhm.
yeah.
can get behind stuff like that. But if it's
Halo
just
3
like,
on Crackdown. I'll remember that one
yeah, they were
always.
moving crackdown units, bro. um, but outside of that, like if it's just for like a skin or something, it's like, I mean, I definitely fell for that with Halo Reach because
Skins get
they
wins.
gave you like recon helmet, and like recon was like unattainable in Halo 3. You had to like know somebody, so it was like we get recon if we pre-order. But as like where I'm at in life now, yeah, like a skin won't do it for me.
It doesn't
There
do it
gotta
for
be
you.
something else for me to pre-order. Oh, I mean,
Xbox
yeah,
Xbox has no games.
Xbox has no games.
Well,
That's
that's
like,
true.
I knew I was waiting for it. I was fucking waiting for it.
Right now it's true. I don't know. I hope it's not true. I got an Xbox. I want to play the
This
games.
is the
It's just-
community
Rob just
Xbox
said-
slanderer, and he's got a fucking Series X.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's good.
Rob just said he didn't know what to play because he was overwhelmed.
He's got too many games.
Right?
Yeah, you know,
But in Greg's defense, here's the difference between Greg and Rob. If you turn on that, like if Rob shows him the list of those games, Greg has played every one of those. I guarantee maybe there'll be one or two he hasn't played.
There's a lot
I
of
feel like I picked a
Game
lot of
Pass.
obscure shit.
But Greg is a far more active gamer than you are, though.
there's a
Does he
lot of
play
Game Pass
obscure
games I
shit?
want to get to.
Yeah,
but
that's what
they
I'm
just
saying.
never
Like,
make their way to the front of the line.
yeah, you know, so like if we want to address that, yeah, Xbox dropped the ball this generation.
Did they drop it last gen too?
360?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, no.
No.
When you said
One.
this, I'm thinking
it's still fresh. It's hard for
one
me to.
and-
I still like.
he doesn't have he doesn't have an
Yeah,
X or an S or
I still
a
think
5.
next gen. These are next gen consoles,
come on,
even though
Rob,
we're
give me the
technically in
freaking
it.
times.
During the Xbox One generation, the Xbox had an okay start. That was ignored because nobody wanted an Xbox because they're horrible start. And so when they changed the image, they no longer had games to put out. So now they're like known for never having a game ever, even though Sunset Overdrive is fun and Titanfall 1 should have been bigger, and Quantum Break isn't a bad game, but it's just the TV stuff is weird. Anyways,
But
no
do
one
they
played
have
it.
heaters?
Those are all heaters. No one played them.
Stop it. Quantum Break
But
is not a
like-
heater.
Quantum
Are
Break
they-
is a decent game. It just got
They're-
shitted on because nobody fucking liked Xbox at the time. People act like the game's ass. That game is not like.
It's not ass.
Whatever.
It's just not God
But
of
when I
War.
say
It's
heater,
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
saying
God of
that's
War.
what I mean. That's not
That's
that
the
level.
problem. The problem is we're comparing them to Sony, and Sony
That's
throws
true.
out bangers. Like
Well, no, you don't even have to
The
compare it
best
to
of the
Sony.
best Sony
Is it
games
a
are some
Gears
of
of
the best
War
games
type
of all
game?
time.
Is it a Halo type game? If it's not that, it's that is the stigma I'm getting at. Like if it's not at that level for Xbox, which there are nothing at that level truly, it's a mediocre game. And if
I
it's
mean, Halo's
mediocre,
not at that
everybody
level
says it's
anymore.
awful.
Well,
the problem.
again, mediocre. I feel like implies like average, like just good enough. I think everything I listed is at least above average. Maybe not like masterpiece god tier, but like Sunset Overdrive is fun as shit. Like straight up.
No, I
Like,
agree. That's a good. But
Without
the
that,
bar
there's
for
no
them-
Spider-Man.
The
Big
bar
big
for
facts.
them is
That is the
Halo and
skeleton.
Gears.
That is a skeleton for Spider-Man. Like
true.
so, like that's not mediocre. You know what I mean? But nobody played it because it came out within that first year.
But did
Right.
they
Nobody-
have more mediocre games than they had good games?
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, my argument would be that they didn't release enough games.
yeah.
more
that's
so
the-
than
yeah,
that,
I think
because
That's not my
the
problem
root,
though. That
right?
they didn't
That's the
release
mean-
enough games. They still
Do
had
they have
more.
games?
Yeah, that it's as simple as that.
And that's just what scares me. Like right now, I'm excited for where we're going. 20-something studios for Xbox, lots of promise, and I think they're gonna deliver better. I just like I was excited for Spellbound and all these games. We were gonna get a Fable, and we had all these things lined up.
They announced it and it's coming.
There was a point at Xbox One you could say like, oh, okay, I see a future with some new IP, some cool new games, and we didn't get any of that. We got Sunset Overdrive, because Insomniac's just a sweet studio.
Yep.
But like,
solid game. On Game
other
Pass.
than that, like they just dropped the ball. So that's
yeah,
like,
no, big
now
facts.
we're here. Hopefully, the future we can say they do have games,
right.
and they're putting out consistently good ones, some new IP, some old IP, your Perfect Darks, but hopefully, Indiana Jones. It's just right now.
Yeah, we're waiting to see. But
I
before we
still
continue,
gotta say they
I don't want to like make it seem like I was trying to imply that they do in fact have games. My whole point was that like people act like they never had games. They did at one point
Right.
have games, but
Yeah.
now I do agree there's not much to put on the table.
Yeah. No new IP really. That's like I think that's what's hurting them, and hopefully like I think a Perfect Dark.
But they've got like a
goes around
bunch
this.
of new IPs that are coming, which is good. Like
Yeah,
we're
like
saying.
a reboot if they do it in that God of War style we're hoping for, that we're like getting excited about. If they do it like that, like I consider that more of a new IP. It's so old, but like
Yeah,
just the Halo Infinite, just God of War, Gears of War 6, those won't cut it. We need something.
Well, I think,
great.
yeah, and that's
More
we've all
great
talked
things
about
coming
that.
out, yeah.
You know, the Gears and the Halos and the Forzas have been their foundation for the last two gens. They need, you know, new single player IPs. They just need something exciting and fresh. And is it unfair? It's going to be unfair when somebody, Greg, is like, these aren't of the level of PlayStation. No, and that's not even to be like, Greg's not going to be the only one that says that.
well, yeah. I was gonna say, to bring us back to the
Is
PlayStation bump
Microsoft
thing,
ever going to get a fair shot?
yeah, I do think
the
there's
thing.
people who already think Halo is gonna be ass because it got delayed. Even though, like, I think taking a
Yeah.
full year to get delayed means they care a lot. But I
Right.
think a lot of people do look at Microsoft titles like, oh, they're all right. They're not this, you know what I mean? Like we just did. Like they're not God of War though, you know what I mean? I do think they do have that. Like same podcast when they were talking about Days Gone, they're like, man, Ori's amazing. If Ori was a Sony exclusive, game of the year. And I'm like, I think it might be talked about like that. Like if it was like a Sony, because for me, the only issue I had with Ori was like load times. Outside of that, I thought it was amazing. You know what I mean? But like,
how did
again,
we get here
Oh,
with like the fandom of these? Like that's my
On
like the
the
console
series-
war thing.
the
And the
generation.
Series X Ori is so good.
Oh yeah,
It
it's
is
a
really
phenomenal
good.
game. I watched Rob play it. Like,
Yeah.
but like that's another thing. Like, how do we get away from like this console war and can't we just fucking appreciate what's in front of us? Like, regardless of it being
it's-
Xbox or PlayStation.
I mean, I definitely like play it up. I play up the PlayStation part, but like really, I do.
But you
think,
appreciate.
Like, I
the
think
other
it's
things you
important,
play.
like to compare the Microsoft games to the God of Wars, to the Last of Us, and like you shouldn't give them a pass saying like, oh well, like they're not the God tier games. Like so, I mean, Sony put out 3 games exclusively, but you know, Final Fantasy isn't Sony.
Timed exclusive.
Timed exclusive.
So exactly, thank you. But I mean, those are some of the best games like I've played in years. Those
Yeah.
are some of my favorite games
Yeah.
I've ever played. Like, can you say that about recent Microsoft games? Ori is a beautiful game, is a great, more indie level game, but they gotta get there with the AAA bangers. And once they do, like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like if Perfect Dark isn't amazing, that it's not amazing. But like, let's compare it to the best, so they try to be better.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I like I said, all I say is I think there's gonna be, because like Santino said, there's gonna be an audience of people who aren't going to give it a shot.
And regardless of if Microsoft's, you know, criticisms, good or bad, are warranted at this point, which some are.
I'd say it
some
is.
are overly
You
critical.
know, like at the end of the day,
Um,
it's like, what have you done for me recently, and what have
yes,
they done
that-
outside
that-
of
that is-
Game Pass? What have they done for us? You
Yeah.
know what I
That
mean?
is where we are with gaming. It's what have you done for me recently? And Xbox, again, Greg has said it, you have said it, Amit, I have said it. We are hopeful for them to drop it. And Greg made this point in, I think, one of our videos, but I need to see it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Before we remove the criticisms that we currently have of them in regards to these single player games, like the bar is here. You got to get there now. You got to show me something that's there or higher. And outside of the Halos, outside of the Gears, it's hard to find a single player game. Because when I think Xbox, I think multiplayer. I think I'm playing multiplayer with friends. Sure, I love a Halo campaign. Sure, I love a Gears campaign. But I've played more multiplayer on an Xbox than I did PlayStation. So when it's just that, like, if I want to get lost in a story, where can I find it on your console? What series, what game, and are those coming? We think so. You know, are they going to be good? We don't know. There's Fable's an old game, old franchise that's coming back, and who knows how well that it could easily be awful. You know, if you're a nostalgic person like myself, Amit, or any of us, and you played the originals, and it's not for you, like how we look at that is going to be completely different than somebody that's never played Fable and think it's the best game ever. So there's going to be a lot of factors from Microsoft. I just think do they deserve the hard criticism that they get? I think so. But do we need to be more open-minded about what they're doing and the future they're trying to get into? I think so as well. So
I agree with that. Totally.
Once they show it, once they give it, and once we can actually put a thought around it, it's tough for them. That's the easiest way I can put it. I think all four of us think that it's tough to think any other way about Microsoft.
Yep.
I don't really know. I mean, there's outside of the bump that PlayStation gets. Are there some criticisms you guys think that are either warranted or deserved for PlayStation that aren't talked about, or are they really, the gold standard right now in gaming? And
I was going to say,
are they allowed to stay there?
Yeah, I think the bias with that is just what you said. I think PlayStation's the gold standard. When you think like the best games, you're just like, oh, get a PlayStation. Like any comment section that talks about either console is like, if it's an Xbox like restock, it's like, where's the PlayStation one? This is the only one with games. You know what I mean? Like they have that reputation for having like the best games. You know what I mean? And I think I think they've earned that. Like,
I think a PS5 bias you could do is just, or one thing that you can complain is they only have third person at like adventure action, like action adventures, right? You can't get a first person shooter.
We were talking about this yesterday or today. I mean,
like you were talking about multiplayer, right? So it's like Microsoft is the first person shooter.
They're the standard for multiplayer, in my opinion.
Right? And then you have Sony. It's like here's the
you can play COD, but you can play it anywhere.
One player, like narrative driven.
Yeah, they got the best narratives in gaming.
Right.
Those are definitely their standouts. You got your racing games. Each side has a good one, but Xbox is kind of pulling away because GT
Forza,
hasn't been good recently.
GT's been bad, right?
MLB The Show was, I'd say, a really good game that stepped outside of that little sphere of third-person action, but it's still a Sony studio that
they're
does
just
it.
sharing rights now.
So that's one, but they're the ones that hit, the big ones are mainly
single player games.
Single player. And it almost seems like that's what they've cultivated, and they bring in these more exclusives, second party exclusives, people they team with and publish for exclusivity to kind of fill in those gaps. But I'm trying to think of a
Sony,
game like
it's a movie studio too. Like it's why their single player games are at the caliber of what they are. They've got that background. So, I mean,
I was gonna say, I feel like they found what they're like good at. They just like doubled down, because I think at the beginning of like the 360 generation, they were trying to do the shooter thing with Killzone and Resistance and all that stuff, and then like
it worked, but it wasn't anything special.
It couldn't catch Halo.
Well, and Resistance 3 is where you saw that transition too.
Right.
Like the first two Resistance were like, here's some cool guns, go shoot aliens.
Resistance
3 was like, yo, this is a story.
There's some depth to it.
And then they're like, kind of, all right, here's where we pivot.
But I think like you guys are talking about, they doubled down with their first, like their third person narratives, where that's why they made the deal with Arcane to do Deathloop, right? It's like, oh, we want a first person shooter. Here, we'll have this company do it, and we'll just pay money so we can have a timed exclusive, so you can't get anywhere else. So it's like, we can't make it, so let's just buy it from someone.
How do we feel about timed exclusives?
I wish they didn't exist.
I'm not a huge fan of timed exclusives. Like when it comes to COD, especially, like I use the zombies mode and stuff like that, for example. It's like, just because I have an Xbox, I don't get to enjoy all the fun zombie stuff that my friends on PlayStation get to enjoy.
So it depends on what it is, because it's that stuff that I didn't like, where it was like, okay, hey guys, here's the game, but you get a special mode on this console. Because like to me, it's like, and especially for a year on an annualized franchise, come on.
Like I'm playing the new COD the next year.
Yeah. I didn't like that stuff, because to me, it's like, oh, so we're spending the same money to get a less game. You know what I mean? Like it'd be one thing if it was like, because everyone tried to compare it to like the 360 generation, because like 360 got like maps a month early. But it's like, we paid for those maps, and it's not nearly the same, because we got them for a month, and it's like an add-on. You know what I mean? Not like a section of game. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to like games being timed exclusive, it's like, okay, cool. Well, then you play on the platform or you wait until it comes to yours. You know what I mean? That's just like whatever. But when it comes to like sections of games, I take issue with that stuff.
Yeah, I that's exactly how I feel, Rob. Like I think something like Deathloop or something like Final Fantasy 7 remake, like I think that's just almost like an exclusive,
Yeah, it's
right?
just a
Like
deal.
it's because when you
Yeah.
do it for a year, you're saying like this is going to be known and associated with our console, and then go make your money once we've sold everything.
Once we've got all
right?
the
Like
good stuff from it, yeah.
Final Fantasy
Exactly.
7 remake, even if it comes out on Xbox or something down the line, or when
I'm
it's
gonna be
on
like, oh, you're
PC,
just playing that, bro? I had that.
it's like yeah,
Hey,
like
shut up.
yeah.
I was gonna,
That's my next game.
if it's
but
on
the
Game Pass, I might replay it.
but the modes are
100%.
kind of BS. The modes, I think, it's ridiculous.
Well, like the Spec
It
Ops
re-
thing for Modern Warfare, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
could
the
only
whole
play
thing.
like so much of it
Well,
the
how
first
do
like
you-
6 months.
How do you guys feel about Spider-Man
I was just about to
with
say,
Avengers? The
yeah,
whole
that's
character and
who
and
cares?
there's
That
like a
game's
storyline.
trash.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
that
like,
game,
you know what I mean, though?
that game died
This
a
guy
death.
said he enjoyed it. Get out
I
of
did.
here.
I did actually.
That
Yeah.
game died a death, but if it didn't, like,
Mhm.
yeah, that'd be like garbage because, like, yeah, there's a whole character,
Yeah.
one of the most popular characters, like,
In
of all
Marvel.
time,
Right.
like, straight up, like, I
Yeah.
think Spider-Man's only 3 behind Superman and Batman.
Right.
Like, so
It's-
this huge character, just because you guys like have movie rights to him, like, oh yeah, he's like,
yeah, and the movie rights mean nothing for the video game rights. It
They just
It's
like-
whoever
mind-blowingly
wrote that
stupid.
contract or
But then, like, I'm
Greg, go
not
change
sure
it.
what the Insomniac rights are. Like,
Yeah.
is Spider-Man as a character then like
that's
have
what some people,
exclusive rights to PlayStation?
but he's in
But
Ultimate
Ultimate
Alliance
Alliance
on
3,
on
yeah.
Switch.
But
So
yeah,
it's like,
not. It's
so
just
it's like one of those things where
ridiculous.
it's like, oh, you're like specifically trying to get
There's a fine print you
Like,
got to read somewhere.
trying to hit that competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
like from a competitive standpoint, like another thing again, like to talk about biases, like I see a lot of Sony fans do a lot of caping for Sony a lot of times. And I've seen people like, oh, I don't think it's like bad. It's just, assuring the best experience for Sony players. And it's like, so you're like, that's like anti everybody else. Like that's still shitty for everybody else. Well, get a PlayStation. I mean,
I don't want a
it's
PlayStation.
good business. Don't get me wrong, but it's like objectively like shitty for other people.
Yeah,
like,
as a Sony fan, like, it's why would I be happy that like Xbox doesn't get something? Like, if God of War and Last of Us could be on Xbox, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the reason it isn't because it makes it better for PlayStation owners. It makes it better for Sony. Like, it makes it better for their wallet. Like,
Their
it's
money,
kinda-
yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
clear why
They bring in
do
money.
it.
They're
Like,
not gonna
it's the reason
share
we
that
have
money when they've had the exclusive.
It's why we have exclusives. So
Exactly,
you buy
exactly.
our thing. Like, it's
Um,
any fans trying to like cop or cape for them and say, hey, that's just ridiculous. Like, yeah, come on.
There was, I think I've asked a couple questions. Unless you guys have any more, I had one last one, and it kind of revolves around E3 and how trailers are shown. And I think they've gotten a little better about this is a in-game engine. This is not in-game footage, or it's in-game footage. You're watching the live thing. I feel like a lot of this E3 stuff, and I love E3. Me and Rob have watched every E3 announcement since before COVID, so it's like a bonding thing. But I feel like a lot of these devs or these studios are giving you the bait and switch when it comes to reveals at E3. And I'm very picky about a particular one, even though I play like all their games. Ubisoft is the king of this.
Oh yeah.
Like, they show you shit, and when you get the fucking game, it's not the game. And I use Watch Dogs as
I
the
was gonna say
example.
Watch Dogs, the first
Watch
one.
Dogs 1 was when everybody started calling Ubisoft out on that. How do you guys feel about all these trailers at E3, or do we need to get to the point? Well, if we got to this point, I'm about to suggest E3 would not be truly needed, where like they do it the God of War style, where it's like Ragnarok is coming, a date, and it's gone.
So I think that we are, and I think only this year will tell, but I think we, especially with the everything going digital last year, I think everybody learned from Microsoft's first conference, like where they were like, "Oh yeah, next gen gameplay," and it was all like cinematic trailers for like average looking games. Um, because after that, like I just remember Sony's like PlayStation 5 reveal, all of it was gameplay. Like every single game had some type of gameplay in it at some point. And I feel like moving forward, like Microsoft's following thing, aside from like Fable, all had some sort of gameplay. I think I don't know if it'll transition into whatever happens this year, but I feel like that tough start in May had everyone like, oh shit, people aren't gonna accept just like trailers anymore. We gotta do a little more
show
than
me
that.
something, right?
Yeah, so um I know they just announced E3 is going to be a digital event this year. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, if it's just going to be like normal E3, just all streamed or something. But I feel like people just like to get hyped. You know what I mean? Like people just like energy. So I think people like we did the fucking
The reveals of the consoles.
we did the DC thing, and like I remember you
Oh,
tweeting how excited you were about Suicide
Dome?
Squad.
Something
And that was
Dome?
yeah,
Fandom,
whatever it was.
fandom.
Yeah, fandom. Yeah, you were hype about Suicide Squad. That was just a cinematic trailer. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, we
like
did do that. Holy
yeah,
shit.
but
Hey, why don't I fucking? What are we talking about?
Gotham Knights and the
Gotham
Suicide
Knights and
Squad
Suicide Squad.
game.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this looks amazing. This
It
is
does look
next gen. It's
amazing.
like
It's
like
shit.
this is a cinematic trailer. Like that's
Yeah.
not gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people just like to be excited about shit. So I get the value in it, but like when it comes to like stuff coming out in the near future, I think they definitely do need to provide like gameplay more than just like it's pretty. Like if you're just announcing something that's like 2-3 years out, like
The
sure,
God
show
of
me
War
a,
thing is okay.
show me a pretty trailer. You know what I mean? If you feel like it, but like if it's like coming soon, like I gotta see something. You gotta show me more than that. I want a slice of it. You know what I mean? I don't want just like a 3 minute with random gameplay interplay.
The guy holding his controller standing on the stage at E3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to give me a slice, yo.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be real gameplay. Real gameplay. I
Real
don't-
gameplay.
That's what I'm saying though. A lot of
I
this
don't
is like
care.
BS computer rendered gameplay.
Right. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's rough. Just
And
be
I
like,
don't want that.
guys, we're updating all this stuff. It looks rough, but like here's some cool like mechanics or features of the
Yeah.
game that we're gonna have. Like if you just be honest, I think the general public will be like, all right, I can get down with this. Just show me when you get closer. Just show me like how much you improved, and it'll be way more of a wow factor.
yeah. I thought a lot of that stuff was in good faith. Like this is like even if it was like a little more like maybe they over polished it for something until we heard about what happened with Cyberpunk and them just being blatantly fake demos and lies and like yeah, I
That's
agree.
tough,
like
yo.
they got to keep it. They got to be more straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we thought that
transparency
was-
is key.
Yeah, we thought that was a legit part of the game that was finished and not just like rendered. You know.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this is where we think it's gonna hit. And even though they say like not final, yeah, we think not final means like, yeah, because you haven't actually sold the
You
game
haven't
yet.
polished it or
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
you're
that
still
it's
doing
not
bugs
done.
and stuff like that. Not
Yeah.
like, oh, we made this section just for
But
this
that was like the
demo.
problem with Anthem too. At their final E3 or whatever it was, like they were like, "Yeah, this was done like 8 weeks ago," and then it was like half of it didn't even come into the game itself. They axed it when it finally dropped. It was your little town before you get into your javelin. They showed like so much more detail and stuff at E3, and they were like, "This is live footage." They had the dude on the stage, but it was really a computer rendering it, and they were like, "This is what you're gonna see." And then every like article I read was like nitpicking, like a guy walked through the same town, the same square of the area, and pointed out everything that was missing. So like that's my thing. Like, if you're gonna give a final footage, it should be final. If you're gonna
Yeah.
give me some, I guess, pre-build, tell me it's a pre-build. Tell me this is still, because like didn't Halo did something like they were like this is
It was a CGI trailer though. It was just a CGI trailer.
but didn't they say like this isn't, there was like a disclaimer that this wasn't.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of times, for the most part, they're pretty decent about like including like that type of shit at the bottom. Like,
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
remember
like,
Halo did
oh,
that.
this is like early build, or this is an alpha, or
Right.
this is
And that's all I want to know.
just
Like
whatever.
Targeted footage. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like I think they do a decent
Right.
job of letting you know
because
that.
it's been a lot of pick and choose at E3 in regards to review. And like Rob said, it's the hype. You want,
Yeah,
because you want to sell this.
You want the energy, exactly. You want people
Right.
like, holy shit, like like in Sony 2015, Like different.
yes.
Dude, that
Different.
E3 was
I think
different,
since
bro.
2015 they've been
Different, bro.
spot on.
That's okay.
And
Yo,
to-
that E3 laid the foundation for that shit. Final Fantasy was in that. That shit came out last year.
Resident Evil, that was a
5
sweet
year,
trailer.
like yeah, like
so
like-
Santino's right on though with Ubisoft because they are the biggest
Dude,
hype
the
killers
biggest frauds.
ever.
they are the
Oh my
biggest
God.
frauds because every trailer is like, oh my god, it looks so real on this new console. Like, dude, you're watching a CGI. Like, you're watching a PC build on the highest platform of a version you're never going to see, no matter what you play on.
Well, they also do like here's a 3-minute trailer, and now here's 10 minutes of gameplay, and then here's an interview with the developer talking
Yeah,
about
like-
it. Now here's the Just Dance people to do a dance on stage, and then here's the tracks we added to Just Dance, and then like
And
get
it's like
out
the
of
Far
here.
Cry. The Far
The
Cry
live orchestra.
is the worst with that, and I'm just like, I don't want that to be like, and I think E3s are slowly like fading into the abyss. Unfortunately,
I think it's dead.
Yeah.
As we know it.
COVID may have killed it, but it was killing itself.
Yeah. I mean, EA had pulled out. Sony had pulled
Sony
out.
is doing their own thing.
Nintendo recorded something last time. It was
Yeah,
yeah.
Nintendo was
doing
always
their
like, we're gonna
directs
come if we want to come.
forever.
Yeah,
They figured out they can control the message and not spend like
Exactly.
over
Six figs.
$500,000. Like
Yep.
Sony has to get a theater and they have an orchestra and they like have set changes.
they were outside
and
of
it's like-
Staples Center for The Last of Us 2. Like,
We can just put out a video.
Yep.
It takes us half. It's like doesn't cost
and
anything.
that like simulation
like,
tent and shit.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, so
I like the
that's-
showmanship. I like it.
Oh, I love it too, but I
Um,
just think it's dead.
I
It's
don't- I
like
mean, yeah.
like expense accounts and martinis at lunch. It's like that was probably a lot of fun, but you didn't get work done.
we need it?
efficiently,
No,
cost a ton of money,
exactly.
so
I don't. You guys got any more, or are we?
I can do a few speed round questions.
Give me
not
the speed
necessarily-
rounds. There we
All
go.
right,
We like to
all
finish
right,
with speed
quick
rounds.
ones.
Love it.
Hot takes of 2020. Big prediction, bold prediction. 2021, not 2020. 2021.
Oh, big prediction, bold prediction.
I'll start. What you guys think?
Go.
AAA games exclusively, so not indies or anything, but Xbox first party studios release more exclusive AAA games on PlayStation than they do on Xbox this year.
What? Because
Bethesda.
that loop in
And-
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo. So I'm saying they aren't gonna like
They're not gonna-
excluding Medium, which already came out, and that's kind of
That's
double
not-
A.
that's
But
not AAA.
Moving forward, I don't think they release 2 AAA exclusives this year. Who knows? Maybe they don't even release 2 on Sony.
For this year, Jesus, I think it's too hard for me to make any like hot takes because I feel like the only like exclusive outside of Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank coming for like PlayStation, I feel like that's it. So it's gonna be too hard for me to make like a hot take for PlayStation.
Well, yeah, it's like, will we get Horizon? Will
I was
we
gonna
get
say a hot take for
whatever?
PlayStation.
Oh, that was mine.
Only one of those gets announced for this year, and it gets delayed to next year.
Bethesda announces that they're console exclusive to Xbox. Hot take.
Ooh.
Everything.
Everything.
How do you do that in a year
Everything.
where you put 2 games out on PlayStation?
Yeah.
After the games come out,
I just want them to do that so we can see the internet crumble and with Bethesda.
All right, I got. Okay, so I think mine's Horizon's is going to be delayed till 2022.
I think we all said that in like
Yeah,
3
yeah,
videos though.
yeah. But I think Halo Infinite's going to score a 90 on Metacritic.
And you think it comes out this year then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we see a whole lot of
I
tens for
don't.
Halo, to be honest.
I don't think Halo comes out this year.
you think it gets
You
delayed
think it
again?
gets delayed again?
I think these monthly updates are a bad sign. I think it's good for the consumer, but I think if
There's no
I think
shot.
they're
Halo.
very sensitive. They want
think-
this thing to be perfect, and the more they update and the more they get feedback, like they're gonna get. I think they're gonna.
Greg,
get
I'll
cold
bet you a
feet.
bottle and a cigar Halo comes out this year.
Halo's definitely coming out this year.
Don't take that bet. Do not
Halo,
take that
Halo
bet.
was finished last
Yeah,
year. Just
I'll
looked
take it.
ugly.
You're taking that bet? We're smoking
Yeah,
cigars
I
and a
don't
bottle on me.
I don't
This
think it comes out this year.
okay, we'll do it. Deal. We shook on it. That's an
What?
awful bet, dude.
I don't
They
20-year
need that.
anniversary, dog. No
They have
game.
nothing.
Come on
They
now.
need that
Well,
to
they
drop.
were gonna do it last year. It wasn't the 20-year
Yeah,
anniversary.
but
That's because they want to
COVID.
launch with
But
the
that- but
console, and they
it's a
thought they could make
console
it
launch.
ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If people were okay with the art style, I feel like Halo would have came out. It would have came out. I feel like they're just making it pretty. The game's been finished. Like
Yep.
they're making it pretty.
All right,
Like
next
the new
question,
guy.
Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit! I got caught up in that Halo thing. Okay.
And our bet.
How do we feel about this? Because when we were talking about timed exclusives. I don't know why this popped in my mind, but how the fuck has Pokemon got away with selling 2 versions for all these years?
My wife just asked me why we were screaming, so stop making me mad, guys.
For the same game. They just have different Pokemon. Like that we
Gotta-
should be mad about.
Gotta catch them. More Nintendo slander. They keep finding ways.
I-
I'm just kidding.
We're just
Diamond and
good
Pearl
with
this year, guys. Diamond and Pearl this year.
We're just good with this.
we have to ask like expect more from Nintendo. Like make Nintendo better, demand more. But to answer your question, it's because you gotta catch them all. That's it.
Except you can't anymore. You can't anymore because they are
What?
not putting every Pokemon in the new game.
That RPG
Wait,
game
I thought
that
that's why they
announced
split them.
is-
That's why some are here,
No,
some
no,
are
no, no,
there.
no, but you can't. So in like I think it was in
More Gray Lions.
in Sun and Moon, you could catch all the previous ones, right?
They're not doing that anymore.
But now you can't catch. They just like, oh yeah, we can't. You can't put every Pokemon in this game. You can't catch them all.
So
anymore.
that big like RPG Pokemon
Isn't
game they
there
were announcing,
more
that's not it.
disc?
This was a huge thing. Bring back the national decks or whatever. The whole
Oh, that's
hashtag and everything.
right.
Because they didn't have a national dex because you can't catch every single one in it.
Yeah,
and
Rob,
they
it's
they
not
wouldn't put
happening
all the
anymore.
Pokemon in this
I
game.
remember
There's
this.
banned Pokemon from the game.
Well, I don't have an answer anymore, Greg. you
No,
can't
Greg,
even catch them all.
No, it makes no sense, especially if you're gonna sell them for $60 each. If you
I
made
know.
them, if you
And
made them,
never a discount.
if you made them $40 each on the
discount.
Switch, I can see paying
Never a discount.
$80 for 2. But
Or
no,
like a
it's
pack, a
not.
2-pack you could buy that was discounted.
No,
What?
yeah, you can buy a 2-pack actually, but they just give you like a code for 100 Pokeballs that you get for buying a dual pack.
Hey, Pokemon's
Oh.
dead.
But it's
Fuck
still full
them.
price.
Yep.
So, okay. Final take. We
Switch
don't
Pro's not
slander Nintendo. We don't slander Xbox players. But like, can we agree that if you call yourself a gamer and you just play Candy Crush, you're out?
No, because mobile gaming is real apparently.
Stop.
I
That's
hate
right.
mobile gaming.
That's where I
hate
draw the
mobile
line.
gaming.
Stop.
We can end on that. I'm drawing a line.
Go ahead.
No. I was gonna close. What do you have to say, Rob?
Oh no, I wanted to get on the close because I was gonna say let's take PC's trash. But
We didn't slander PC.
We didn't
at all.
slander
I've been
PC
waiting for
at
you guys
all.
to give me a
Good for
PC
us.
topic, and we've gone almost an hour and a half. So shout out PC. This is my true take. PC is not the hot shit that all these nerds claim it is. It's a gaming console.
Too many drivers.
I mean, that's you literally click a button and it uploads itself, downloads itself. PC's great, it's fun, but if you like games, play wherever you love to play. Play wherever your friends are at. If you have the means, play on every system you can and find out what you love the best. Each console, each PC has its pluses and its minuses. Nothing's perfect. And with that being said, it was really fun, guys. Let's hope for, and I say this every time we talk these next gen consoles, let's hope 2021 comes with heat for both consoles so this console war can not be annoying anymore. Everybody on Xbox can enjoy their Xbox and everybody on PlayStation can enjoy their PlayStation, even though they're going to enjoy that regardless. We're
Oh.
bye. That's our closing.
What?
Thank you for watching.